So, literacy. I'd have to say when I was really young, I hated everything to do with, reading, writing, books, essays, everything. I think that was mainly more so because when I was like in preschool or something, or when I was just learning how to write, my handwriting was absolutely atrocious, and to an extent, I mean, it still is. Nothing's really changed. But my teacher, she likened it to as if a chicken had gone into a pot of ink and then walked all over the page. That's why she called it a chicken scratch. um, but they do say doctors do have the worst handwriting, so that's on the good note for me. But writing, things didn't really. I mean, I always hated writing essays, whether it was just sitting down at the desk writing an essay over and over and over again within like a certain time period, whether it was for the FCAT, Florida Writes, or the SATs, or the IB English exams, AP exams, all the free response. Absolutely hated it. Or sitting behind a computer just typing away about comparative literature between Charles Dickens and the Dark Knight trilogy. That was a fun essay to write. Um, Specifically, I don't really. What changed, I guess, I started to realize why writing became so important. Why it's important in different aspects. I was looking at writing only through a literary sense, only through either comparative essays, persuasive essays, expository essays, but there's so many other forms of writing that I use on a day-to-day basis. When I was shadowing one of the cardiologists over break, I got to see how scientific writing, scientific heuristics came into play with the amount of dosage you have to prescribe, how you're speaking to a patient, proper bedside manners, things that you're writing down so that other doctors working with the same patients can understand how to communicate with between doctors, between these professional people. Um, and then I started to realize that it's not going to get away from me. I have to learn how to do this. I have to be able to enjoy it, or else I'm not going to be able to be as well versed in my profession as other people. So instead of just hating it through one narrow-minded lens, I learned to start to appreciate different forms of writing. I love to put puns into my essays. I love to put the odd symbolism. I love to. I'm not a very succinct writer, which is something I've been trying to work on. Getting to the point very quickly, very clearly, using the least amount of words possible to still get my point across to the reader. Um, but it's good. It's a skill that everybody has to learn. In every field of profession, I think they being well versed in writing is a key fact in that. So that's how slowly but surely my opinion changed as I started to experience not only in class but in the world really how people utilize writing to either enhance or reinforce their professional lifestyles. It's not just boring, tedious tasks. If I can't write a comparative piece on Charles Dickens and the Dark Knight trilogy, then how am I ever going to write a master's thesis thesis on, like, I don't know, somatic hypermutation on the hybridized T cells causing monoclonal antibodies to differentiate into something else? Now, how am I going to do that? Make that jump from a small step into something very large? I'm complaining about a 2-page essay. My thesis is going to be, who knows how long, months, years of research put into that paper. So there's that. And then the other specific instance I had to talk about were books. I mean, but I didn't really like books just because I thought, books were a symbol of loneliness. You read books when you were alone. You didn't have time to go play with your friends. You didn't have time to go be active outside. You didn't have time to play video games. Nothing like that. it was just you and you. And then that's when I realized it's the beauty inside reading. It causes you this just veil upon you for disillusionment. And as you escape into this world that the authors created, and you're just enthralled by the storytelling, picking up on the small symbolisms, the themes across, the motifs across, the use of similes, use of metaphors, anaphoras, this, that, everything in between. That's why when I was little, my mom always used to take me to the library often, and we'd check out books, and I'd always I had to turn everything into competition. So with my older brother, to see who could read the amount of books the fastest. And that's how I found comic books. That's how I fell in love with superheroes, to be the first. Yeah, I absolutely love superheroes. But then I have some books here that I absolutely love. Classics. The Great Gatsby. I mean, what a thing. Ray Bradbury's Fahrenheit 451, showing you really how dark the world can be. Books became, after reading this one especially, I realized books were a symbol of education. You don't want to be that lazy guy behind the couch potato who just sits on his butt all day watching TV, getting fat, not doing anything, not being educated, throwing away our history, our everything that's written down. That was a scary thought. I didn't want that to happen. And then this one, A Long Way Gone, Memoirs of a Boy Soldier. This is something that really hit me. This emotional book depicted what it was like as if between child soldiers in a civil war. And it was something that was very real. It wasn't something that was fictional. This actually happened. Maybe some elements were shifted for narrative purposes, but then, this is how people share their story. People are natural storytellers. So am I. I love telling stories. And it's through, things like this that people are able to transmit those feelings across. And that's how I really, really started liking books more and more. Even, I hate to say it, but no fear Shakespeare. Shakespeare in general, his works can be seen across classic love stories, romantic conflicts, quotes, just everything in between. That guy, he still has an impact on what we do on our day-to-day lives today, what we see, what we experience. The best part is books don't always usually stay books, too. People can adapt them into movies. They can be adapted into other forms. People can be writing stuff online about them, having blogs. We have an author out there whose main character, who owns part of Universal, the Wizarding World of Harry Potter. She thought of that character at a train station, or was it a cafe? Now she's this huge person that just... that's just amazing. Just one idea just sparked everything. And it was just through a book. That's just fascinating to me. And then I guess the most important thing I realized, this was probably more in high school. These were books that I all read in freshman year of high school, and that's when I really, really started to appreciate it more and more. But also, when you combine the two, I found this out during my college application process. It's literacy that gave me my most powerful tool as a person. It's never guns, it's never muscles, it's never strength. The most powerful thing a human has is their voice. Their ability to voice their opinions, their feelings, the things that matter to them, the ability to fight for what they believe in is told through writing, reading, and transmitting that. And that's all part of literacy. And that's why I have such a huge respect for literacy now. Because if I wasn't a literate person, I wouldn't have my voice. And then people wouldn't know who I was as a person. They wouldn't respect my feelings, they wouldn't respect my opinions, and they wouldn't know who I am. And my identity is a big part. I I'm not a I'm not an introverted person. I'm very extroverted. I love, camera. I love spotlight. I love this. I love talking. I love meeting new people. I like being social. And this just gives me that opportunity to explore that. So I hope that sheds some light onto my literary narratives. I know you said to have like 2 to 3 specific examples, but I just kind of shared how I feel about it in general, listing some books along the way, with my teacher telling me I had atrocious handwriting. But one day, I will meet that teacher again, and I will be a doctor then, and I will say thank you because I do have atrocious handwriting. All right, thanks.